It's 6 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting of the mayor and board to order. And if y'all would stand with me, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Boy Scout Tyler Waring.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tyler, could I give you one of these lapel pins for doing that for us? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Alderman Miller, would you start our meeting with an invocation?
Thank you. Heavenly Father, before we do anything, we say we are so thankful for this day that you allowed us to witness, and we realize that we'll never witness it again. We pray, Heavenly Father, we move forward with this business of this city, that you will give us wisdom and discernment. We pray, Lord, that whatever service that we run on tonight, whatever decision that I made, will be pleasing in thy sight. Then, Lord, we thank you for giving all of us an opportunity to serve in whatever capacity it might be for this city. We ask you, Lord, to continue to bless our soldiers far and near. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Could I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The agenda is approved. Can I have a motion to approve docket of claim numbers listed on your agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Item 6 is to approve the minutes from the regular mayor and board of aldermen meeting of September 2nd, 2025. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
The motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 7 is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion on that item?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Consent agenda passes. Item 8 is the personnel docket. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
The motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Personnel docket passes. Item 9 is an item that was added by Alderman Kit Kitchens. It's a discussion on a possible renaming of a city street to Charlie Kirk Boulevard. Alderman Kitchens, if you would.
Yeah, I'd like to read a statement into the record, if you wouldn't mind. Last week, people across the country were stunned by the assassination of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. He was killed doing something that was a staple and defining attribute of his career, engaging with students in respectful, nonviolent debate. He helped countless people, primarily young people, by boldly expositing the virtues of conservative and biblical principles, of arguing for the goodness and richness of the nuclear family, and teaching them to be proud to be Americans. He did not do this in friendly spaces, or with people who largely agreed with him. Instead, he courageously went into the belly of the beast of secular hedonism, college campuses. Because of him, all over the country, people are living richer, fuller lives with their families and in their faith. This includes many people right here in Hernando, which has sparked the creation of a new Turning Point location, Charlie Kirk's organization, right here in Hernando High School. In an area that often struggles with voter turnout and civic engagement, a memorial for someone who has built his career around those very things and I think would be beneficial. Nonviolent political speech and discourse is what our country and our area needs more of. Originally, I wanted to propose the stretch of Mackingville in front of the new high school to be renamed Charlie Kirk Boulevard. The Mackingville family firmly endorsed this idea, but some have voiced concerns for school safety. While I've spoken with Sheriff Tuggle, and he has assured me that he and the Sheriff's Department, as well as the Hernando Police Department, can effectively secure the school safety, I've decided, for public peace of mind, to amend what I was going to move. Therefore, I move that the Board of Aldermen approve the renaming of the following roadways within the city of Hernando. The portion of Green Tea Road west that begins at Old Highway 51 South and extends and extends and turns into Green Tea Road eastward until it meets Mackingville Road, stopping at the west side of Mackingville Road, and I move for that to be renamed Charlie Kirk Boulevard. This motion applies only to the segment described above and does not include any portion of Green Tea Road extending east of Mackingville Road. Furthermore, the cost associated with the new signage will be covered by private donors and not by the taxpayers of Hernando.
Okay, is there a motion? There is a motion.
That's a motion.
That's your motion, you said. Is
Mayor-
there any
Mayor,
discussion?
just for clarity, that a motion is being made without any discussion and no input from the citizen or even from the board?
I'm about to ask for discussion.
No, I'm asking it for clarity.
No, yeah, that, I welcome discussion on the motion, if it's seconded.
I think we might need to look at Robert Rule of Order.
So are there questions from the board to start with on that motion?
I'd like to hear from the public, yes, and have discussion from the public in particular.
If that's what y'all want to do, we'll start with the public.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do want to tell everyone how we run our meetings here. When we have this many people, we limit each person to 3 minutes. We actually have a 3-minute timer up here now, so it doesn't get away from us. Everyone that speaks should come to the microphone so you can be heard into the record. State your name and your address for the clerk for the record. And we don't want people shouting out or talking from their seats. And anyone that speaks needs to come to the microphone. And I'm going to look at my department heads. If y'all need to speak to, y'all need to come to the microphone so the public can hear you on YouTube. So who would like to speak first? Yes, sir.
Does the 3 minutes start after I give you my name and address?
Sure, yeah, we'll start it after your name and address. That's fair.
You know, I'm nervous. I ain't never had a jury in front of me.
It ain't no jury, man.
All right, my name is Chris Pierce. My address is 2933 College Street. I started following Charlie Kirk about 5 years ago, and about 5 years ago, I was totally a different person. I've seen all the videos. I've seen the ones that made him look bad with lies, and I've seen the full-length videos that show how good he truly is. Charlie Kirk removed empathy and made decisions based on factual evidence in the Bible. He could have chosen different ways to speak, but that wasn't Charlie. My perspective is that he spoke truth. I can also tell you my son goes to Hernando High School, and the values I have are the same ones he has. And the number one value we share is to be a servant of God first, and then a servant to people. Charlie Kirk's death really hurt me. I think it hurt me more than it hurt other people, because my brother David Pierce got killed 30 days ago in Memphis, still don't have justice, got killed trying to help a complete stranger. He was killed serving others. I've been through more pain this month than any man should endure. I know exactly what it feels like needing God's love. If you choose not to name that street after Charlie, you will be denying them children the chance to know God's love like I do. The children at that school are going to talk about Charlie Kirk. They will have an opinion, and just by doing that, they will end up leaning toward having the same servant heart that I and my son have. Not all kids will understand, but for the most part, I believe some will. And I don't want to talk about who Charlie has changed. I want to talk about who Charlie is going to change. He may not be here today on this earth, but he is alive and well in millions and millions of people like me. I think by not naming that road Charlie Kirk Boulevard, you are reducing the chances of changing little hearts that have the ability, or little hearts when we have the ability to do it tonight. So I ask the residents of Hernando, Mississippi, that you guys name that street Charlie Kirk Boulevard. I'm almost done. And I hope there's millions of children during this lifetime coming into that school not knowing great values, but leaving the school having the best values a man can carry, or a woman. The last thing I want to say is the algorithm on social media has the same videos coming to everyone if they click twice. So people, when they click twice on lies, all they get is lies, 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 and they hate Charlie, and they need to wake up, look at the truth, and just wake up. Thank you guys for having me. I'm Chris Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. And you didn't sound like you were nervous. We're going to let that timer run down and then call the next person up, because they may want their solid 3 minutes. Who would like to come next? Yes, sir, Mr. Rutherford. You want to come up and go ahead and state your name and your address?
My name's Matt Rutherford, 751 Palmer Drive, Hernando, Mississippi. Just quick show of hands too, just who on the board lived here in September 2010? Show of hands. Okay. I'm asking because, for one, I'm a lifelong resident of Hernando. I got a few documents I'm gonna reference real quick. I'll just pass these out. They're all the same. First is in your Facebook post today, you mentioned history, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. Here to talk about sacrifice. We're here to talk about honoring those things. On September 20th, 2010, another great man lost his life violently. His name was Lance Corporal Josh Osee, and he was from Hernando, Mississippi. I feel, overall, I'm opposed to just changing the roads, period, because I feel it opens up a Pandora's box of things. But I feel if change the name of a road we must, then we need to honor our own first before we honor an outsider. Because while Charlie made a great sacrifice, when Charlie took that stage and sat on that stool, he had no idea that evil was lurking with a rifle. The difference is Josh Osee did, and he stepped across the wire anyway, and he paid the ultimate sacrifice. So if we're gonna honor a man, and we're gonna honor sacrifice, my suggestion is we start with our own first before we move to the outside. That's just my opinion. I'm a lifelong Hernando, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Who would like to speak next?
I would.
Yes, please.
I'm not going to give you my last name or address because there have been threats against people that oppose this. If you'd like to see my driver's license to prove that I live here, I'll be more than happy to. My name's Debbie, and I moved here 2022. I moved here from Houston, Texas, because I wanted a small town that I could love and that I could enjoy and that I could live the rest of my life in. Since I've been here, when I go out and I voice my opinion, I get shot at. I've been shot here in this city. I get the bird shot at me. I get vile language, even though when I'm speaking what I feel is correct, I am doing it totally peacefully with absolutely no feelings at all to anybody in this room or in this city. I agree with the gentleman that talked before me. If you're going to rename something, rename it for somebody that lived here and that was born here. That's what it needs to be. Although Charlie Kirk was very well known, he has a lot of negatives against him, and I'm not going to go into them here. But you need to pick somebody with true values, with a true heart, and with true religion, and from this state to name your city, to name your streets by. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Who else would like to speak? Yes, sir.
I'd like to just go ahead and say that I'm a little bit of a minority here. I'm the youngest person probably here attending, except my friend and teammate who was just here. My name is James Fong. I'm 17 years old. I live at 836 Vincent Road, just off of 51. For a long time, since I moved here and just in all my years of being passionate in politics, I was never confident. I was never, I guess in a way, excited to talk about what I believed in this political world until I started watching Charlie Kirk. I would like to say this, and this is really something that we need to be thinking about. Political violence through the act of someone's words needs to end in this country. We have seen it so much, historically speaking. President Kennedy was assassinated for a lot of the beliefs and standards for what he believed in. Dr. King was assassinated for a lot of the standards and things he believed in, things that were right and things that were righteous. So many historical figures have had this kind of violence against them. Incredible conservative patriots like Steve Scalise and President Trump have also been shot at and had their lives attempted to be killed. The difference is Charlie Kirk did lose his life. I understand what a lot of the Hernando natives are here saying, and I get that. As someone who has been a lifelong Mississippian and I've loved this state for a long time, I would like to say that the biggest thing I love about Hernando is we try to make a difference. We try to assert ourselves and show who we are. And I think that by naming this street Charlie Kirk Boulevard, I think that puts us on a great road for greatness. The truth is, I believe that Charlie Kirk was an incredible patriot. I think he was a good Christian. And I don't believe that using personal character judgments is the way we need to be going about this. The young people of Hernando, not just me, but hundreds upon hundreds that go to Hernando High School and go to private schools in the area that just live here, have been incredibly impacted by Charlie Kirk's actions, by his words. And I speak that on behalf of so many of myself and my friends, including that gentleman right there, his son, Chris Pierce, who I just talked to today about this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am, on the back row.
Hello. My name is Teresa Morgan. I live in Hernando at 755 Reed Road, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I appear today to voice my opposition to the proposal to rename one of our public roads after Charlie Kirk. My concern is not about silencing political voices, but about ensuring that our public spaces reflect values that unify us rather than divide us. When we name public infrastructure after an individual, we make a lasting statement about who we, as a community, choose to honor. Road names are not temporary. They become part of our maps, our addresses, and our shared civic identity for decades. For that reason, we must choose honorees with broad, enduring support, people who represent values of service, unity, and positive contribution to society. Charlie Kirk is a figure who, whatever one's political leanings, is undeniably polarizing. As the founder of Turning Point USA, he has built a career in political activism, not community service. He has made statements that many find deeply offensive, including calling the Civil Rights Act of +64 a huge mistake, disparaging Martin Luther King Jr., and repeatedly making hostile remarks about people of color and LGBTQ+ Americans. These positions are not minor disagreements. They cut to the heart of whether all members of our community feel welcome and respected. By placing Mr. Kirk's name on a public road, our city would appear to endorse these views. That creates division, not unity. Roads are used by all of us, regardless of race, religion, political affiliation, gender, or background. They should not become political battlegrounds or reminders of controversy. Furthermore, naming political infrastructure after a politically active figure sets a troubling precedent. If we honor one partisan activist today, do we then open the door to renaming the streets for every political personality tomorrow? This risks politicizing our shared spaces and eroding the sense of common ground that public landmarks should provide. We have countless other deserving options. We heard one tonight. Local teachers, veterans, first responders, and community leaders who dedicated their lives to service without controversy or division. Choosing one of them would both honor our community and strengthen our civic bonds. In conclusion, naming a road after Charlie Kirk would not unify us, it would divide us. It would not reflect timeless contributions to our community, it would reflect the politics of the moment. I urge you to reject this proposal and instead leave the road names as is, or choose a name that we can all take pride in, one that reflects service, unity, and the best of who we are.
Thank you very much. Who would like to speak next? Yes, Chief?
Tina Taylor? Your car's parked in front of the fire department. That's all.
Yes, sir, come on. Yes, sir.
Hey, good evening. My name is Mark Goss. Live here in Hernando. Moved here from Memphis, Tennessee to raise my family. And council members, I want to speak against the proposal to rename the street after Charlie Kirk. My opposition is not about denying the tragedy of his death, but what it means to permanently honor someone who has been a divisive national media figure with no meaningful connection to our city. Street names matter. They are civic honors. They tell residents and visitors, this is who we value. Charlie Kirk built his platform through rhetoric that has been widely criticized as hostile, inflammatory, and even hateful towards entire groups of people. They make him a known national figure, but it does not make someone who represents the unity or values of our community. We have countless local citizens, teachers, veterans, volunteers, first responders who have given their time and their lives to make our city stronger. Those are the people who should be recognized, not someone whose career has centered around national controversy, division, and polarization. I had a really good conversation with my alderman this afternoon, Mr. Miller, and I expressed to him that I was nervous about coming up here and expressing my First Amendment right. You will notice that the first gentleman that spoke tonight, he left because the other side, he heard some stuff he didn't like, and that's not what this is supposed to be about. We're supposed to be able to express our opinions, talk about them, and come up with the best solution for everyone. I urge you to reject this proposal. Let's reserve our city's highest honors for people whose contributions reflect service, unity, and real connection to this community, Hernando, Mississippi. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goss. Who would like to speak next? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Aldermen, and Hernando residents.
Could you state your name for the card?
My name is Katie Stribling, and I'm here tonight to speak in strong opposition to renaming a street in our community after Charlie Kirk. When a man tells you who he is, you should believe him, and Charlie Kirk told us over and over again. He said about black women that they do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to be taken somewhat seriously. He said, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. He said the passage of the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. This is the law that prohibited discrimination in public places, provided for the integration of schools and other public facilities, and made employment discrimination illegal. Kirk said that was a mistake. These aren't isolated comments. They're a pattern of demeaning, diminishing, and dehumanizing people. For generations, our state of Mississippi has carried a reputation as one of the most racist places in America. We all know this. Our history includes pain in some of the darkest chapters of the civil rights movement. But that's not the end of our story. We're a state of progress. We've worked hard to move forward. In our schools, in our churches, and in our communities right here in Hernando, we see black and white neighbors working together, children playing together, and neighbors supporting each other. That's the Mississippi that we're building. Hernando is known across the Mid-South as a family town, a welcoming place and a growing community. We really want visitors to see a street sign of a man tied to racial division. That's not who we are. Imagine being a young black student in Hernando, walking past a street sign every day, knowing it honors someone who said that you don't have the brain processing power, the brain power to be taken seriously. What message are we sending to them about their community? If we put Charlie Kirk's name on one of our streets, we'll be telling every family, every business, and every visitor that we align ourselves with division. We will not be known as a town of progress, but as a town that celebrates a man who's made a career out of attacking civil rights, demeaning people, and spreading suspicion. This decision would undo the hard work of generations. I understand that not everyone in this room feels the same way about Charlie Kirk. Some admire him, but others in our community see his words as deeply harmful. Those voices matter too. Why would we subject ourselves to that division? Why would we choose to make our black neighbors feel uncomfortable in their own hometown? Leadership means listening to everyone, not just those who cheer the loudest. Some will argue that Kirk's a Christian man and that makes him deserving, but true faith is not about wearing a label. It's about living out a set of values. Jesus Christ's ministry was about unity, compassion, and lifting up the vulnerable. When Charlie Kirk dismisses black women, casts suspicion on black professionals, and calls the Civil Rights Act a huge mistake, his words do not reflect these values. They're the opposite of what faith should teach us. Street names are more than directions on a map. They're symbols. They tell our children who we admire, who we lift up, and what values we honor. If we want to rename a street, let us choose someone who reflects Hernando's real character, someone who builds bridges in our community, not someone whose name tears us apart.
Ms. Tribwing, I think your time has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Who would like to speak? Who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Chisa Evans. I'm also a citizen here in Hernando, Mississippi. My husband and I moved here several years ago, and we chose Hernando because it was a city that we felt was a welcoming city, an inclusive city, and was one that would be wonderful to raise family. And to hear this proposal, I adamantly oppose naming this street after Charlie Kirk. For me, as a black woman, listening to some of the rhetoric that this young man used while he was living, it is offensive for us to think that renaming a street after him would be something that we would welcome. You're talking about someone who has demeaned black women and the capacity to think and use and qualify for jobs that we clearly have to work 10 times harder to actually get those jobs. I do not want my children to have to grow up and walk past those streets. I drive past Mackinville every single day. To see a street named after someone who does not care anything about me, not because of I don't qualify for something, but because of the color of my skin, that's something that I cannot live with. I cannot, and I will not be silent for something as to support something like this. You're talking about someone who also just, even in the way that you say Christian, the Bible that I read, God is love. There is nothing about what he was saying that says love. Everything that God does means that he is embracing the sick, the poor, the homeless, the widow. It doesn't matter what color you are. It should not matter. But that is not what I heard when I listened to videos from this young man while he was living. I am one to believe that two things can be true at the same time. It is great that he gave a voice to young people, but at the same time, what voice are you giving? You have to be careful about what you're exposing your children to. The second thing, whenever you have somebody that has given a voice to your children, think about how they lived at the same time. If you are one of those people that are giving a voice to people, you have to make sure that that voice is something that is going to be inclusive, and it actually speaks of unity, not division. At this point, when I think about Charlie Kirk, from a country that is already suffering from division, this does not help with uniting the community or the country. So with that being said, I do strongly oppose renaming this street after Charlie Kirk.
Thank you. Who would like to speak? Would anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir. I saw another hand pop up back there. We'll get you next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for recognizing me. My name's John Williams. I would rather not give out my personal address, but I am a lifelong resident of Hernando. I find it interesting that a lot of people have gotten up here and spoken about their opinion or view of Charlie Kirk's statements or what he did. But I guess people look in lenses and they choose to see sort of like the saying, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Because when I see Charlie Kirk, I don't see some of the hateful things that I've heard said about him tonight. I don't find him offensive. I find him as spreading a message of faith and family and trying to teach our young people, to go into campuses and encouraging open debate. And some people have said that they find, his language offensive. Well, let me tell you what I find offensive. I find offensive that in this country, a person was assassinated for their political beliefs. That's what I find offensive, and I think a lot of other Americans find that offensive as well. And the reason that I support renaming this road in honor of Charlie Kirk is all history is important. Not all history is good. Some of it's bad. And like in life, a lot of the lessons that we learn that are most important are the lessons we learn from mistakes we made or bad history, or there's good history and there's bad history. The world needs to know about, for example, Adolf Hitler. We learn from bad history the things not to do in life. And so, there will be people from both sides that view Charlie Kirk as good or view Charlie Kirk as bad, and that's not the issue. The issue is we need, as a board and as a community, to take a stand that never again should we see in America someone losing their life for simply sharing their opinion. I respect everyone's opinion here. I may not agree with it, but they're entitled to give it. So I would encourage you to support this, and I also agree with Mr. Rutherford. I have no problem whatsoever naming a road after Josh Ossie. In fact, in the 15 years since his death, there's nothing stopping this board from making that proposal up until now. So we don't have to choose one or the other. We can do both. And it's not about division. This is about a movement of values and being able to live in a community that says, yeah, we're honoring Charlie Kirk because he stood for political dissent, where we can share, Alderman Miller, I know you and I don't see eye to eye on everything, but I love you and I respect your opinion. Same with you, Alderman Lynch. We can have differing views or opinions without risking our lives and being assassinated. And that's what I find offensive, and that's why I think we should, as a community, honor Charlie Kirk in this way. We've honored Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but there's streets and buildings all over America named on behalf of people that weren't from their local community. And so it doesn't matter to me if Charlie Kirk was from here or not. It matters to me that we honor the values of what he was trying to do, that he was politically assassinated for simply sharing his views.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I saw another hand back there a minute ago, I believe. Somebody back there want to speak? Okay, yes, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Henry Minor. A little bit about myself. 30-year law enforcement officer, Army veteran. So I fought for this country and for people to right to free speech and to say what they want to say. But I disagree with renaming this street to this gentleman. He is divisive. I think we should name it for a person that would bring this community together, not divide it. In closing, I think, I hate that the man was murdered. I don't think anybody should be murdered because of the way they feel, but I feel that the way a person dies does not still reflect the way that he lived. So on that, I ask you to reject this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to look to the board members. Yes.
I received several emails. I asked the folks if they weren't going to be able to make it to the meeting to share their address so it could be submitted into the record. I can pass this down, but I'd also think it'd be beneficial to read some of these folks from both sides. Is that appropriate?
Yes, please do,
Okay.
and we'll, as you read them, then we'll put them into the minutes.
Perfect. I think I got an extra copy for you, Nicole, as well. So Michelle Dunn, she lives at 1340 Terra Drive in Hernando. She says, I am a citizen of Hernando, and I do not want a street named after Charlie Kirk. I would prefer a street named after someone from Hernando that has served our community. The next one's from Daniel Payne, who lives at 2309 Mason Drive in Hernando. I know for a lot of people, Charlie Kirk represents their faith, a good-spirited debate, and if they would like to honor him, they should have every right to. However, I would be hesitant to permanently dedicate public resources to his memory, as it would be a disservice to the community members who are impacted by some of his more fringe views. As someone who grew up in Hernando, it is no surprise to me that members of this community want to do something to support someone that meant a great deal to them. I am confident that business leaders and community organizations that feel so moved will take actions they see fitting. I would just ask that we respect the impact that comes with the city publicly endorsing someone by means of a street dedication, especially someone with no direct ties to the community, and understand how that might not be appropriate at this time. I don't want to speak ill of the dead or drag up the worst things he did and list them for you, but I trust you in your service to your community. You will do your own research. Lauren Parks of 3404 Claire Circle West in Hernando. I'm writing as a Hernando resident to express my opposition to renaming a street in our community after Charlie Kirk. Mr. Kirk has no connection to Hernando, DeSoto County, or Mississippi. He is neither a public servant, military veteran, nor a leader with any ties to our city's history or progress. Choosing to honor him with a street name would not reflect Hernando's values or heritage. His platform stood on telling children college was a waste of time. He was solely a podcaster with a now cult following. More importantly, his public platform is rooted in exclusionary rhetoric, racism, and misogyny. Hernando should be a place that welcomes all people and reflects dignity, inclusivity, and respect. Honoring someone whose views divide rather than unite would send the wrong message about who we are as a community. I urge you to oppose this proposal and instead consider names that honor Hernando's own history, culture, veterans, public servants, or leaders who have truly contributed to our community. Thank you for your time and service to Hernando. In the interest of time, there's quotes on here, but I'm going to just keep moving because I think that'll get past the 3 minutes. All right, Stephanie and Danny McGregor of 725 West Commerce Street here in Hernando. My husband Danny and I are lifelong Hernando residents and own 2 businesses and a nonprofit organization in Hernando. We live on the south side of Commerce Street, west of the library, and our primary business is on the square. I'm writing to voice strong opposition to naming a street in honor of Charlie Kirk in Hernando. Mr. Kirk was well known for his divisive politics and hate-filled rhetoric. I've watched and analyzed his videos, and his rhetoric is exclusionary and reactionary. His words and ideas have no place in our city government. I do not believe that following through with this is in the best interest of the city for a multitude of reasons, but the primary reason is because the city of Hernando is making news, parentheses, negative news, because of this. Our city depends on grants and fundraising from organizations and individuals from all around this country. Grantors often want to know more about the community that they are supporting. One quick Google search will tell them that the official city government of Hernando supported a proposition made by literal insurrectionists. No matter what a handful of loud citizens thinks or believes, we need to consider the bigger picture of what this is saying to the world. The message, no matter what you personally feel, is not, oh, we are good Christians. The message is we agree with racism, homophobia, xenophobia, and bigotry in the name of Jesus. And most of the people in Hernando are not okay with being associated with such ideas. This is not who we are. We are welcoming and friendly. We want to welcome families of all colors, shapes, and sizes into our community. This would immediately turn us into a sundown town, and that is not the image we want to give the world. Charlie Kirk did not want to be a martyr. He is not Jesus. He is just a man. As an alternative to naming a street for him, please consider other ways to honor his memory, perhaps proclaiming his birthday, Charlie Kirk Day in Hernando. Maybe we can plant a tree, a plaque, or a rock in front of a church. I know he has a place in many hearts and minds, but the official declaration in the way of naming a street after him is both harmful and a long-term action. Thank you for your consideration. Mr. Darren Downen of 350 East Robinson Street here in Hernando. We wholeheartedly support a street being renamed in honor of Charlie Kirk. I think cities across the country will be doing this just like they did for MLK. Hernando has the opportunity to be one of the first to lead on this instead of following. I really hope you will consider this proposal. And then I got one more via text just a minute ago. This is from Vicki McClendon of 2245 Memphis Street. As an alternative to using Charlie Kirk's name for renaming a street in his memory, perhaps Turning Point might be a better received by all, as this is a turning point in our country's history. So, thank you.
May I say something? Please come back up to the podium.
Hello, my name is Mike Bostic. I live here in Hernando. I wasn't planning on getting up here and saying a word. I respect everybody's opinion, and I just wanted to say that I think this is a fight that we're in of good and evil. I don't mean to sound like a crazy guy, but this man was not politically assassinated. I think he was assassinated for being a Christian. And I think I respect everybody's opinion, but I also know for a fact, because I've watched full-length videos, that these clips a lot of people are referencing came from. And a lot of these clips that people are so upset about are taken out of context because you're not getting the whole thing. You're not getting the whole story. And I want anybody that's opposed to at least be open-minded enough to do some research. Dig deeper, and don't just listen to what's being pushed by our mainstream media. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. I think we've heard from most everybody. I'd like to take some comments from the board if y'all have some. There is a motion without a second as of yet. The discussion is open.
I'd like to address a few things that I heard during that situation. Like you said, a lot of things that have been mentioned are either twisted, as far as quotes that he said that people have cited, a lot of them have been either twisted or taken completely out of context. Imagine this. Imagine someone taped a microphone to you for 50% of your life and was able to take out clips of tiny sections of that and try to skew that in whatever direction they would like. It would be very easy in that situation for anyone to make you seem like anything. At the end of the day, he was make you seem in whatever they wanted, because it wouldn't even have to be, it wouldn't even have to be anything related to what you were saying. Like, if you take one part of, and people do this, and maybe not be the best example, but people do this with scripture all the time. They take one Bible verse out of the context of the entire text, and then they say, well, this is what the Bible's saying. It's entirely antithetical to what they're saying. When I teach hermeneutics, it's a biblical interpretation class, one thing I talk about is, if you were to take two different scriptures, you say, okay, Judas went and hung himself, and then you turn somewhere else and say, go therefore and do likewise. You would end up with a message that was antithetical to which either of those things are saying. So people have done that throughout his career. The same thing they do to Trump all the time. They take things he says, they take them out of context, and they twist it into something else. I know that a lot of people have said, well, he wasn't from here, and he didn't deserve it. Look, if you want to, I think the man you mentioned,
His name was Lance Corporal
Thank you.
Josh O.C. from Hernando,
Josh O.C.
Mississippi. Show the proper respect.
I didn't have notes. So Josh O.C., I'm perfectly happy to have a street or something named after him.
Do it now. Let's not speak
All right, look, here's the thing. I've been here for 3 months, 2.5 months. This is the first street renaming that's happened since I've gotten here. I'm happy to do more. You mentioned that, we can start looking at that. We'll have to pick a street and we'll have to go from there. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with any number of historical, political, Hernando residents having a street named after him. Sonny Bryant, he died in office. It might be a good idea to have a street named after him. There's a lot of people that have either been in law enforcement or have served nobly in the military, have died, and we do have a plaque for law enforcement, or a monument for law enforcement at our square. But if we want to go any further, I'm happy as could be with it. But if let's say in Butler, Pennsylvania, if Trump had not turned his head slightly to the right before that bullet hit him, he's not from here. He's never been here. Would we have an opposition to people? Some people might, of course. Yes. But some of you out there that maybe have spoken against this, would you have an opposition to renaming a street after President Trump?
Yes.
Speaking of hypothetical, it's not a hypothetical situation. This is life. This is my home.
Hey, let's keep the comments down.
All right. So we can, it's more, I say that to highlight the principle that we are there isn't a single victim of a political assassination that wasn't disliked by some people in their time. But name one victim, a high-profile victim of political assassination that doesn't have streets all over the country named after them. We're not the only ones.
Does that matter?
We're not the only ones doing this.
Let's not speak from the floor.
We're not the only ones in the country doing this either. There's a street.
It doesn't make them
south.
Can I make a point of order, Mayor?
Yes.
I believe Alderman Kitchens is just rambling on. He hadn't really made a point. Can we move on to the next person that wants to speak?
Excuse me, I ain't making a point. I say that, no, I am making a point. I actually made several points over the course of the
Will you come
time.
to your point, Alderman Kitchens?
I have made several points. So the point is that we've talked about, I'm addressing multiple points that have been mentioned throughout what's been said. So the point is, we're not necessarily against it. A lot of people aren't necessarily against this in principle. It's not something that people, that we would consider this in other situations. And many people do feel personally connected to Charlie Kirk in this community. And he has affected many people in this community's lives in a positive way. And so I think it would be worthwhile to name, to name this street in his honor. I'm not saying that there's going to be unanimous consent on that, but that's what I believe, and I think that a lot of people in this city have voiced consent with that.
Are there any comments from other Aldermen? Yes, sir.
Yes,
Alderman
I'd
Miller.
like to make a comment. What we are seeing tonight is one of the main reasons that I cannot support a street name for Mr. Kirk. And one of the reasons that we in this city have done everything possible that we can to unite this city. And I don't think we need to be doing anything that's divisive to separate this city. I am a product of the 60s and 70s. And I have never seen this nation or this community as divided as it was back then. We have came a long way in Hernando with inclusiveness. And for us tonight to even consider, and everyone has their own opinion, and I respect Mr. Kitchen for his opinion, and I think one thing that we always talk about, that we can disagree without being disagreeable. Just because we disagree, it don't mean that we don't have love for one another. But in this case, I'm totally against naming something after this individual. I knew nothing about him until the assassination. And no person should be assassinated for their belief. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them, that's not the point. But when we attempt to name a street after a person and it brings so much divisiveness to our community, and I feel we as leaders owe our citizens the service, owe our citizens to not do it. I have received many emails, I have received many text messages, and some phone calls. Not one was for this proposal. And some of the most disturbing calls that I received in email that some said that they would be here tonight, but they're afraid to be ostracized by their neighbors and their friends. They're afraid of what the backlash would be like if they spoke openly about how they truly feel. And that's a sad indictment that people feel that way, that they're afraid to express their feelings because of the backlash that they might receive from their family and their friends. And that's a sad state of affairs. So I cannot support this name change, regardless of the location.
Thank you, Alderman Miller. Any other Alderman like to speak? Any comments from other board members? There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second to the motion?
Mayor, I would like to say, I'm similar in some ways that I was not a daily listener to this podcast. And, on Sunday, our pastor mentioned during his sermon that, he felt like for the most part, people over the age of 40 probably don't fully understand the impact that his podcast had on people that are in that 18 to 30 age group. And that kind of struck me because I've always considered myself, I'm still young. Like, I'm still kind of know what's going on, right? And I really got to thinking about it. And, my daughter's 12 and she knew exactly who Charlie Kirk was. I was horrified by what happened. I'm more horrified by the fact that, she saw the video of the assassination because it was so widespread on social media. And I think a lot of us did. And it's something that will never, it's seared into our memories, and it was an awful act. And then that being said, it's been such a shocking last 5 or 6 days, I think it would be wise if we let the temperature calm down on this for a period of time to consider other options. I'm not against the idea of doing something for Charlie Kirk or for Turning Point, but I think it's good if we take a minute to consider all the options that could possibly be out there. And so I don't know that now is the right time to move forward with this specific motion.
Are there other comments from the board members? Yes, Alderman McClendon.
So all of us that are sitting up here are elected officials, and we're temporary caretakers of Hernando. And one of the fellow aldermen that's sitting up here had said in a previous meeting something to the effect of, we would be naive to think the decisions we make up here don't have ripple effects, and making a decision on this street will have ripple effects. I did a tally of those that stood up as well as those that had emailed me that took the time to write something out, to show up here, and it's 2/3 are against this. Not to say that we couldn't do something else, but that's just some perspective and information for y'all on it. I think it's been less than a week. I think Alderman Piper's correct. It's still very, very fresh on that. So, thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
I think there's been a motion on the floor, so it should be up or down. There's been a motion on the floor.
All right, I will say there is a motion. Is there a second to Alderman Kitchen's motion? Is there a second to Alderman Kitchen's motion? Hearing none, that motion is dead.
I make a motion that it be denied.
There is a motion to deny it. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to deny the request. We'll have a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Alderman Miller,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderman Wicker,
No.
Alderman Kitchens,
No.
Alderman Piper,
No.
Alderman McClendon,
No.
Alderwoman Lynch.
No.
And that motion failed. Is there another motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table this discussion to a future date.
There is a motion to table this to a future date.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. We'll have a roll call vote on that motion.
Alderman Miller,
Nay.
Alderman Robinson,
No.
Alderman Wicker,
Aye.
Alderman Kitchens,
No.
Alderman Piper,
Aye.
Alderman McClendon,
No.
Alderwoman Lynch.
No.
And that motion failed. So are there any other motions? If not, we will move to item 10. Item 10 is the approval for the police department to apply for the 405D alcohol and drug impaired driving grant for $154,116.12, and for me to sign all documents. While y'all are leaving, thanks to all of you for voicing your opinions. Many of you have not been here to a meeting before. Many of you have. Please come back. We invite public discourse, and thank you. Is there a motion on item 10?
Shane, what are we looking at here? Just the kind of...
Chief, would you come to the mic to answer that question?
Sorry, Chief Ellis, excuse me.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
So what exactly I know there's a lot of paperwork here, but just kind of, you can cut to the chase on what this is and what this does.
This is the 2026 DUI grant. We already had the paperwork done and the mayor signed it, but we forgot to get y'all to approve it. And so that's what this is, to approve us, to apply for it and accept it.
and then I'll legally sign the document.
Got it, okay.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, motion approved. Second.
So motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And that motion passes. Item 11 is the Civil Link presentation of the fiscal year 2025-2026 paving list and the approval to advertise for bids. Nick, as you're coming up, I'll remind the board that we hired your firm to study our roads and to give us a professional opinion, an unbiased opinion, and not based on politics, as to what you thought we needed to do and in what order. So if you could make your presentation to the board and to the citizens.
Sure can. Nicholas Cronin, do I need to speak my address? I'm not sure. I'm usually speaking my address, so yes, we were asked to look at the roads, come up with a road list for 2026. One thing I want to mention that is from our report that we use to kind of help assess roads and determine is we rate everything on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. And one thing that we utilize to try to determine where the best place to spend the money is we use what is called a CBF value, which is a cost-benefit factor. That cost-benefit factor takes into account traffic. So you may notice that in this list it is mainly main thoroughfares and not local roads. The reason for that is that earlier in your focus in the report of trying to hit the best CBF factors first, obviously that's going to become the most traveled roads, the roads with the most traffic, the roads with the most citizens touch. So when we started looking at the roads and coming up with a list, we did notice that there was only one road left that was a 2. So we made sure to grab that road because this, in 2025 and 2024, y'all knocked out a lot of the, or almost all of the 1s and 2s. So we wanted to make sure to kind of finish 2026 out. We wanted to make sure to kind of cap off and finish the 2s out. So there was one road that was a 2. The rest of the roads, we spread it across with different treatments and trying to hit as many roads as we could with the money while still focused on the CBF factor. Be glad to answer any questions. I know that's a high level, but.
What is the, on the double micro, what, is that a micro seal? Is that kind of like a?
It's basically a thin lift of asphalt.
Okay.
It's a different treatment, much cheaper. It goes on a road that is, the base has not failed yet. So it's, and you can see on the right, the 5 different treatments that we do, that's from the report. We're only hitting overlays and double micros in this. The reason why is because when we started to look at the roads and the cost of the roads, one thing you got to make sure you do is you spread that cost across all those treatments equally, or not equally, but you at least cover enough of some of the treatments to justify bringing a contractor in. So, for example, that's why we chose to leave off the fog and crack seal in this plan, because there wasn't enough of it in this year.
Mm-hmm.
One of them that I'm excited about is Mackingville. What this is going to do is, y'all know we're, with the aid of the county, we're taking out that last section of Mackingville, kind of in front of Kentucky Fried Chicken in that area, and widening it to 5 lanes. This will make Mackingville a true 5-lane road from the roundabout north to Commerce. So I think that is well worth doing. It'll be striped properly. I know we're all kind of lost on it right now. We don't know where to go. The striping's faded, and this will really make that a finished road.
And one thing I think that's good to point out is that when we looked at the roads, looking at the CBF, when we brought the list to the mayor and the staff, all the roads they had questions about were in there with the CBF, like that road that you mentioned, Mackingville. I mean, it really is almost, we brought it in, there was very little changes from the staff by just looking at the CBF value.
I do wonder, so we're focusing on mainly major thoroughfares right now. I do have some neighborhood streets that are have really low ratings, like especially in Edgewater, that really need to be repaved. What is y'all's estimate of like when we should repave those?
So you can do plans for future years to start looking further ahead, but hitting local roads with, obviously there's local roads that are worse than these roads. But if you go with the approach of worse first, you are going to ignore the roads that haven't failed yet, but if we ignore them, they will fail and the cost will skyrocket.
Gotcha.
So for example, if you look at Heritage Drive and Green Tea Boulevard, they're both the same length, but Heritage Drive is more failed and the price is double.
Right.
So if you really, and to be honest, the failed first approach is the method that most cities always go with, and that's kind of historical been what Hernando has done. And that's the going with the local roads and not the, I said that wrong, going with the main thoroughfares and not the local roads is trying to get away from that approach to be more conscious with the money.
Right. And that makes sense. I'm just looking for, they're getting really bad. So what can I, like, so assuming the trajectory that we're on, how long do you think it would be before we're able to get to some of those local roads?
We would have to just do a plan of multi-year and see when we get there. I can't really answer that with the information I have tonight.
And that's probably something we want to look into. South even kind of has a plan like that, and it's actually on their website, I think, where if you have your street, you can go and see, well, it's going to be paved in 3.5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And that would be helpful. It'll cost a little more money, but I think it might be worth it.
Right, because I've got to be able to tell them something.
For example, Olive Branch, we're doing the same planning with them, and they chose to do only main thoroughfares, and we're starting to do local roads this year. And we've been doing it, is it Chase 3 years or 4?
This is our
fourth year. So we're starting to do local roads in our 4th year.
That was kind of one of the, when we began talking about this and when we did the initial plan and whatever, you know, I was, when we would talk about paving, I would think about it by neighborhood or whatever. We would be advocating for certain streets or whatever else, and I felt like I was trying to come up with my own plan for my ward. You know what I mean? When we have people that can kind of lay it out over a 4-year thing, and they know more about stormwater drainage and, you know, the timing of when we need to look at some of these things. There is one thing that I have, and because I'm assuming this is just a presentation. No, we're approving advertising for bids. One of the things that I am wondering about accounting for is, like, if we have a hard freeze in January, February, that just completely, it takes a road from a 4 to a 2, because that can happen, right? I mean, we're not like immune to that. There's not a lot of room accounting wise to shift things around, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that tracks at all, but.
Which, you know, a hard winter that makes some roads shift, that's something that's really hard to plan for.
Right.
But those are the kind of things when we do, let's just say that we have a hard winter this winter, and we all notice roads in your wards, you might notice them before I do. We'll put those on a list, and we'll have them reevaluate those so they can be evaluated properly. Because they do need to be reevaluated. We can't just reevaluate the whole city every year, because that would be costly.
I
But if we see
understand that.
something that we think has failed, it would be good to get your crew to go out.
And we can reevaluate a single road, and we can update maps, we can do all kinds of things. So that is something that we can do as roads, you know, become noticed and want us to reevaluate something, we can definitely do that. And then that could change things for the next year by reevaluation.
I guess what I'm trying to consider is, as we've got this, we're advertising for bids, the bids come in for these streets, is there any allowance from other board members, like that, if there's something that just gets really damaged in a storm or something like that, that there would be items that could be removed or changed or anything like that, or are we
I
just
can't
stuck with this
remember
one?
off the top of my head, but in the Modernization Act money, the usage tax, there is a pretty good sized contingency in there. And that would be, I think that would be up to the board to say, let's spend a little of that contingency from that fund on those roads if they pop up like that. That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
With the oversight from our professionals, of course.
How many more main thoroughfares do y'all think we'll have? I mean, this hits a lot of them.
This does, it hits a lot of them, and now we ignored Commerce Street as the main thoroughfare.
Yeah.
But this hits a lot of them. And in 23, I think it was in 24, y'all did some, which of course Mackinville's all new. This hits a lot of them, but I didn't look at it from a standpoint of how many do we have left of main thoroughfares.
It doesn't seem like I don't think we might not be 3 to 4 years like Olive Branch is what I'm thinking.
That's something that we could look at and come back and say, hey, we think there's one more year of main thoroughfares, or it's very easy. We could do a multi-year plan and look into the future. I think that's a good idea.
I know when y'all did the study, like the total cost was like $20 million or $22 million, or what, I don't remember the exact number. Do you might remember?
It was around that.
It was around that number, so I mean, at our current rate of spend.
$23 million, but it included McInville.
Yeah, we took that $4 million.
So just for the folks that are listening or sitting here, the proposed budget total is $2.257 million and $100. I gotta give you that $100. Yeah. 2.257 100. So given that trend, within 10 years, we should be, if we keep these levels of funding, we should be in a much, hopefully, better place, unless diesel goes to like $7 a gallon or something.
Yep. And that's what the budget of spending $2 million a year was based on, was a 10-year plan. So the report, that was one of the things we looked at was do you do a 7, 10, 12, 15-year plan, and we chose a 10-year plan for y'all.
Any other questions? Any questions from the citizens here? Yes, sir. Please come up. Please come up. We want to make sure we hear you.
My name is Ulam Fong. I live in 836 Benson Road, Hernando, Mississippi. We are in the county, we're not just here in the city. I have a question. This has been going on for 6 years since we moved here. Are we ever going to do anything about commerce and underneath the interstate where you always run the risk of getting your car run off into the rails, which has happened to us twice now? And I'd like to know, who do I bill for that or anything else?
Who's got insurance company?
That's your place?
So a short synopsis of that is this entire board has it at the top of our priority list. We go to the state legislature every year. We talk to our federal legislators, and that is, quite frankly, outside what the local budget can pay for. The last estimate we heard was about $120 million to redo that exit. So obviously, the city can't afford that. It really needs to be federal. State could help to some degree, but if you could talk to your legislators, a lot of times a regular citizen has a bigger voice than we do.
So who would I direct that to?
Congressman Kelly's office, Senator Wickers, Senator Hyde-Smith, and of course any of our local legislators.
Kelly, Wicker, and who?
Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith.
Okay.
There is a long-range plan that's, as you see, they're doing work at Church Road right now. That plan eventually will get to Hernando, but that's probably
18
10,
years
20 years
yeah.
down the road. So that's what they're going to tell you when you tell them. But
Yeah, hopefully I'll be alive then.
Me both.
No, I mean, but it has concerned me because I've seen people and I've seen
Terrible.
other people been run into that. And it's really dangerous. I'm worried somebody's going to get killed or injured.
It is a terrible thing.
Yeah, it really is. It's scary. And especially, I have a 17-year-old son. I have 3 other children that drive through that area constantly.
You got a responsible son, though.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid.
Yep.
He speaks his mind. I'm proud of that. He's a good Christian. But I just wanted to voice that because I've been concerned about it because we've been
Yeah.
here 6 years now and I haven't seen anything.
And we do feel like we have gotten short shrift. Best I can tell, we are the largest city on I-55 that still has their original exit. So it's our turn.
Well, in spite of all that, I think y'all are doing a great job. Okay?
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I did want to say, your son, at 17, I would not have showed up at a city council meeting and spoke as well as he did.
He's one of our mayor's youth council officers,
Yeah,
of course.
so really impressive.
He's a good kid. All 4 of my children are like that. They speak their mind. You told them to do that. You told them to always stand up for the police and the Christian values, but to always agree to disagree. You don't have to curse someone. You don't have to scream at somebody. You don't have to touch someone to make a point. That's our belief.
Great advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this topic? If not, is there a motion from the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 12 is to authorize the VIN number car listed on your agenda as an unmarked car pursuant to Mississippi Code 25-1-87. This will replace a previously unmarked vehicle with the VIN listed on that same item.
Motion.
Second.
It's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 13 is the approval of surplus of 2017 black Chevy Impala with the VIN number listed in the police department. I believe that was a wrecked car possibly. It was just old. Chief? Just old and worn out. Okay.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
For clarity,
Yes.
Chief, will you be sending that to the sale, or are you gonna be sending it to another agency after the surplus?
We can do either. It depends on if another agency would like it, then we can go that route.
We had been sending some to Coldwater. I noticed they just got 2 new cars, 2 brand new ones.
But there's several agencies that have asked about old cars, and we'll reach out before we decide to put it in auction.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, item 14 is the approval. Did we vote on that one? Okay, I thought we did. Item 14 is the approval to publish the solid waste management cost as required by 17-17-348.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 15 is the approval to terminate the emergency declaration of May 19, 2025.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. In the budget, y'all approved salary increases. As a matter of operational efficiency, we would like to make y'all, have y'all make a motion to have them start on October 5th, 2025, which is the beginning of a new pay cycle. So we don't have to split a pay cycle up and do every check individually, and it's just a lot easier that way. And next time when we're doing a budget, y'all remind me to include that in the budget. So I can say.
Typical?
What's that?
Is that typical to vote on it, or?
Yes, which usually we do it when we're doing the budget. We'll say, let's start it on this certain date to pay raises.
Oh, but we didn't put that.
We just didn't say that, so that's on me.
I'm sure Julie will appreciate that.
Yes,
So,
she got on me pretty good about it.
yes, make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no, and that motion passes. Item 17 is the approval of the continuing disclosure submission for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024. Is there a motion on that?
So move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Next is item 18, the approval to accept the cybersecurity grant from Mississippi Homeland Security with no match required from the dispatch department. There we were awarded the grant, so.
Good news.
Great.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 19, Joe Frank is not here, but I think he had budgeted over $1 million for this, and he wants us to approve the lowest and best bid of $836,230 from Lehman Roberts for the last of the 2025 asphalt paving project.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Okay, item 20 is a planning item, PL 1924. Austin, could you lead us through that?
Yes, sir. Tonight I've got several final plat requests before you, the first of which is PL 1924. It's a request for final plat approval, Phase 15 of Nesbitt Industrial Park. It's 1.8 acres. It's a one-lot request tonight. This is at the southern terminus of Braemont, at the very southern end of the subdivision. Butch Davis is the developer. Greg Smith was the applicant. He did have a conflict tonight. This was heard by the Planning Commission at our last meeting and unanimously recommended for approval. The existing zoning is M1, light industrial, and there have been 14 phases before this one to get us to this point. This is the second to last phase. There's 2 additional lots remaining in the subdivision. A little bit about the plat. This is just south of our animal shelter, just north of the recently approved Maximus building supply, the Lot 9. along Braemont Drive there. And as I mentioned, this is the second to last. There's one additional lot in the subdivision that has not received final plat approval, but the request tonight is just the one lot of 1.8 acres. Provided proposed motion in your staff report with our standard criteria for Nesbitt Industrial for their improvements. We have an existing letter of credit that covers the entire subdivision, and the road, water, and sewer infrastructure is complete in front of this lot, so the bonding is absorbed into that existing letter of credit. As I mentioned, this was heard by the Planning Commission at our last meeting and recommended for approval for you tonight, and I'm available if you got any questions.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from citizens or anyone here to speak on that item? If not, is there a motion?
Austin, is this residential or?
This is M1 light industrial.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that part in the, I see that now, sorry.
Motion to grant final plat approval for Phase 15 of Nesbitt Industrial Park, one lot, 1.80 acres, located at the southern terminus of Braemont Drive, south of Nesbitt Road, west of US Highway 51, and east of Witt Road in Section 25, Township 2, South, Range 8 West, based upon a finding that the submitted final plat generally conforms to the requirements of the city's codes and ordinances, subject to the following conditions, 1 through 9.
Second. There's a motion and a second. We'll have a roll call vote.
Alderman Robinson?
Aye.
Alderman Wicker?
Aye.
Alderman Kitchens?
Aye.
Alderman Piper?
Aye.
Alderman McLendon?
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch?
Aye.
Alderman Miller?
Aye.
And the motion passes. Item 21 is PL 1921. Austin.
Yes, sir. This is a request for final plat approval of 2 lots on 4.51 acres, the Wampler 2-lot minor subdivision. This is on the east side of Gwynn Road, south of Starlanding. Ben Smith is here tonight representing the applicant. The 4.51 acres is currently already 2 lots. It's zoned AR, and all the bulk requirements for lot size and setback are met with the proposed lot. On the second page of your staff report, the dotted line you see running north and south that splits the home and the shop is currently the division of the property. The request is to move the lot line to run east and west to put the shop and the home in one lot and create one additional lot with nothing on it at all. This was heard by the Planning Commission and recommended unanimously for approval. And with this being a minor subdivision, there are no proposed improvements to Gwynn Road as everything's in place already. The request is simply just to move the lot line running north and south to east and west. And I did provide a proposed motion in the staff report saying such. I'm available if you got any questions.
Anybody from the public here to speak on this item? Anyone from the board have questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to grant final plat approval for Wampler 2-lot minor lot subdivision, 2 lots, 4.51 total acres, located on the east side of Gwynn Road, south of Starlanding Road, based upon a finding that the submitted plat generally conforms to the requirements of the city's codes and ordinances, subject to the following conditions. Number 1.
Second. Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Miller?
Aye.
Alderman Robinson?
Aye.
Alderman Wicker?
Aye.
Alderman Kitchens?
Aye.
Alderman Piper?
Aye.
Alderman McLendon?
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch?
Aye.
And that motion passes. Item 22 is PL 1919.
Yes, sir. The next 3 applications are all located within the Delta Landing subdivision. The first of which is 1919, is Phase 3 of the residential portion of the subdivision. As you know, it's on the west side of Mackinvale, across from the new high school, South Pleasant Hill Road. Nick Creedon's here tonight with Civil Link, representing the owner of the development. The Phase 3 residential subdivision consists of 43 single-family lots and 4 common open space lots. This is zoned PUD, and so with that being said, the preliminary plat was approved with the PUD approval in the zoning, and so according to subdivision regs, it gives the developer the go-ahead to construct, and then once they come back here tonight, as long as it substantially conforms, the ordinance does say shall approve. A little background of the development. The original Brighton Village PUD was approved in 2007. A revision was presented and approved on March 7th, 2023, and subsequently revised in 2024, removing lots from the northern boundary line. and providing for an additional mixed-use building. This phase tonight is 43 single-family lots and 4 common open space lots on 8.79 acres. And the setbacks are listed in your staff report. The 11 conditions we've recommended are consistent with the previous 2 phases to bind the covenants, all conditions of the PUD. And it also, on the plat, we've requested for them to clarify that all the medians within Bolivar Drive are the responsibility of the homeowners association and not with the city. And so that's been listed on the plat. And the private alley that's between Bolivar Drive and Sunflower Street is clearly listed as a private alley and delineated as a parcel, so it won't be any confusion if and when there's an argument about city maintenance. Similar to the last application for Nesbitt, the existing letter of credit covers what we have in place here, and the construction plans have been approved by engineering. You'll see the hatched area in the staff report that delineates the floodplain, so either a letter of map revision to FEMA or elevation certificates will be required on those lots, and finished floor elevations have been provided. Everything's been elevated. It's more of just a formality of how they want to fix it with FEMA on their end. I believe that concludes everything, and Nick's here tonight if you've got any questions as well.
Any questions from the board?
Will all lots drain to the street?
This is a plat subdivision.
Very good.
That's a great question.
Yeah, topography is not much of an issue on this.
Anybody here, public, wants to speak on this? If not, is there a motion?
I can make a motion. Make a motion to grant final plat approval for Delta Landing Phase 3 subdivision consisting of 43 single-family residential lot and 4 common open space of 8.79 acre west of McInville Road, south of Pleasant Hill, in Section 31, Township 2, Range 7, based upon the finding that the submitted plat generally conform to requirements of the city codes and ordinance, subject to the following condition 1 through 11.
Second. Motion and a second. We'll have a roll call vote.
Alderwoman Lynch.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderman Wicker.
Aye.
Alderman Kitchens.
Aye.
Alderman Piper.
Aye.
Alderman McClendon.
Aye.
That motion passes. Item 23 is PL 1928.
Yes, so this is the second of 3, the request for final plat approval. This is on the commercial portion in the downtown area of the Delta Landing PUD. The Phase 4 commercial subdivision is 1 lot of 1.31 acres. The same background as our previous application. And the bulk requirements in this one require a front yard setback of at least 10 feet and a side setback of a 10-foot building separation, which this has plenty of room for. As you can see on the plat, the Lot 4 area of 1.31 acres fronts Humphreys Drive, so this will be across the street from the future YMCA. And the shaded area you see in the rear of the lot created is the shared parking area between all the buildings in the downtown area. I did include a map of the overall plan to show where this is within the development and how it does substantially conform with the area of the buildings that they originally presented. This is the third mixed-use building within the rear downtown square, and it's 1.31 acres. The reason it's been separated from the Phase 5, which is the next one to come, is for the timing of recording. And so by splitting these up, it gives the developer some flexibility of when these go on the tax roll based on permitting requirements and all the reviews we'll go through with the buildings that are being built. So very similar to the next application, but this has been split into Phase 4. Nick's here tonight also representing this application, and I'm available if you got any questions.
Are there any questions from the board? From the citizens? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to grant final plat approval for Delta Landing Phase 4 commercial subdivision consisting of 1 lot on 1.31 acres west of McInville Road and South Pleasant Hill in Section 31, Township 2 South, Range 7, based upon a finding that the submitted final plat generally conforms to the requirements of the city's code and ordinances, subject to the following conditions 1 through 10.
Second. Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman McClendon.
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderman Wicker.
Aye.
Alderman Kitchens.
Abstain.
Alderman Piper.
That motion passes. Item 24 is PL 1929.
Yes, sir. 1929 is Phase 5 request for final plat approval, Delta Landing on the commercial portion of the subdivision. Very similar to the last application, this is a request of one commercial lot and 1.36 acres. The same bulk requirements as the last plat. As you can see on the third page of your staff report, the shared parking area is in the back of this building. This is the mixed-use building on the corner of Tunica Trails and Humphreys Way. After this building, there will be one additional mixed-use building, and that would complete their downtown area and their main streets is what the purpose of Tunica Trails was. But the shaded area is the common area that adjoins with the Phase 4 to the north. As I mentioned, this was split from Phase 4 to get flexibility in the timing of recording, but this is one lot on 1.36 acres. Nick's here again on this application, and I'm available if you got any questions.
Any questions from the public? Any questions from the board? Is there a motion?
So there's this one.
I'm sorry, Ben.
This one last little square piece right here is the last lot.
So it'll be across the street. So the remaining mixed-use building will be south of Lot 5. When you're looking at the plat to the right, that building is under construction. So
South of Lot 5, like here?
Is it east? Yeah, that's north. So this still has this to go.
Okay.
That's the building that's under construction.
Okay.
House was back here.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
There are no more questions. Is there a motion?
I do have a question, and
Another question?
you probably won't be able to answer this, but you know, are these units already being marketed? I mean, I see the flyers and everything. Are they being pretty well absorbed by the market?
We started,
Would you come up to the podium?
Sorry.
Johnny McBride.
We've got a lot of interested people watching on YouTube that want to hear you.
We started last Monday marketing because of the credit application. You have to wait till 45 days before the buildings are complete. And I think as of today, we've got nine rented so far. So I mean, we feel like it's being absorbed at a pretty substantial rate.
Is there any certain unit configuration that's going quicker than the others?
So this building has 8 one-bedrooms and 21 two-bedrooms, and right now it's about half and half. So it's about 4 one-bedrooms and 4 two-bedrooms being rented now.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Johnny while he's up here? Okay. Thank you. If not, is there a motion?
Motion to grant final plat approval for Delta Landing Phase 5 commercial subdivision consisting of one lot on 1.36 acres west of McInville Road and south of Pleasant Hill in Section 31, Township 2 South, Range 7, based upon a finding that the submitted final plat generally conforms to the requirements of the city's code and ordinances, subject to the following conditions 1 through 10.
Second.
Motion and a second. We'll have a roll call vote.
Alderman Piper. Alderman McClendon. Aye. Alderwoman Lynch.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderman Wicker.
Aye.
Alderman Kitchens.
Abstain.
And that motion passes. All right. Item 25 is the approval of the inmate and detainee housing agreement with the DeSoto County Jail contingent on the approval of the DeSoto County Board of Supervisors meeting, which has already been held, and they did approve it. So it is up to us to sign on to it. So, Stephen, would you like to say a few brief words? Everybody's had it in their packet and has had time to read it.
Sure.
You need to borrow somebody's readers?
No, I think I'm okay. But we kind of worked this out over the last couple of weeks. I think it speaks for itself. There's some talk about the legislature passing a law that would potentially increase the cost to the cities quicker than this does. This gives us a staggered increase over a period of time. I think it's to our benefit right now to agree to this. The Board of Supervisors has passed it. I don't really think we have a whole lot of choice right now. It does kind of keep our costs at least manageable so we can anticipate maybe sometime in the future if the law does change. It may not, you know. We'd have some more time to plan for that if it changes in the future.
Are there any questions?
The only question I have on page 5, C,
on the 60 days.
Yeah, is there any way, a 1.5% interest?
Yes, sir. Well, I don't know. I don't know if we've ever really been delinquent on paying any of these.
Well,
have we?
no,
Yeah.
I know that we shouldn't be, I'm just saying, but just, you know.
You don't like
Was that
that?
negotiated, or I really don't.
Yes, sir.
I'm being honest, I mean, you know, come on now.
Yeah, I can understand that. You know, we talked about a lot of these provisions. We didn't really spend a lot of time talking about that when Alderman Miller, and I don't have a lot of input on that. You know, I think routinely, and I understand the objection to it just on principle, but as I do also think that we are promptly paying our bills as a city.
And Rena said that, I'm just gonna be, I'm transparent anyway, so it don't bother me anyway. We just waive a significant amount of money for the county on the building of the National Guard Armory. We waive a significant amount of money when they build the Ag Center. But then they're gonna turn around, and when we sign the contract with them, they're gonna put 1.5% interest on us if we just happen to slip. I just have a problem with that. I mean, nobody else might have, but
I'll say this, that, you know, that, I don't know if that's standard language, Mr. Pittman, or not,
Yeah,
but
I mean-
when I was at the jail there, we never had an issue with that. Even if Hernando was late or other cities, we never charged any interest. And I doubt they would either. No, I guess legally they could, but I don't think they
I mean,
would.
just to have it in there, I just got a problem with it.
And I think I certainly understand the issue on principle, because, I mean, we all work together in the county as municipalities, and
Yeah.
in general, we work very well together. But I appreciate the comments, and I can understand.
I know they ain't gonna make no difference. No, I want to say it. I feel better by saying it.
Yes, sir, I understand that.
Know that I read it.
Now our clerks know to make sure they don't pay that one late.
You don't even get that much money on your savings account.
I do not.
Are there
I
any
do
other
not
questions?
either. So just to make sure I'm understanding this, because I didn't go to law school, or I don't understand all these things. So, so is the current housing charge $32.71 a day?
Yes.
Yeah. Just do it.
Currently paying 35.
Well, it's 35.
Okay.
So it will drop for the.
It'll drop. Okay. And then beginning next year, it would go to 40
Correct.
The law changes.
if the law changes. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. So I guess what I don't understand. Okay. So essentially, they don't know what the state law is going to change to, so they want to put all these different provisions in there so they could charge us more potentially.
That's essentially what happened. And I think there's one legislator, and I don't know who it is, who has said something about trying to get it changed. So I don't know how much weight you put into that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think this was hashed out with that in mind. If it happens, that's what this was kind of trying to make provisions for.
Okay.
We are paying $35 a day now. There is some more clarity on when all of that happens, and the definition's part of the agreement. It just takes a little time to kind of read through that. But it doesn't change a whole lot.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion that we agree to the contract to give you permission to sign.
Second.
A motion and a second. We'll have a roll call vote on that one.
Okay. Alderman Kitchens.
Aye.
Alderman Piper. Alderman McClendon.
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderman Wicker.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Okay. Stephen, thank you for all your work on that. Item 26 is to discuss amending the noise ordinance and approval to publish a public hearing. Would one of the aldermen on the noise ordinance board like to start the discussion on that?
I'm happy to speak on it. So, the catalyst for this was some construction in a already like filled in part of town where we're kind of filling in those little gaps. The current ordinance was passed in 21. Most of y'all were on here.
21 or 22. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was pretty soon after y'all were elected. It has provision in it where construction activity, those noises are allowed starting at 6 a.m. When I looked at other cities around here, they start at 7 or 8. And so just thinking ahead to other construction projects as we continue to fill in gaps, just a minor adjustment of shifting it an hour back might be good. We also talked about the possibility of adding in permits for like a construction purpose. So say developers needing to pour a bunch of concrete or make a lot of noise on something, apply for a permit on that, and then there's some, public notification on it so nobody's just woken up or taken aback, surprised by what's going on over there. So, Steve, I don't know if you've already written some stuff on this yet or not, or if you want to speak to it more.
No, I haven't written anything on it. I'm happy to take any kind of questions. Basically, you're wanting to change the hour, make it 1 hour later. So if we do that, we'll just publish notice to that, and, if it passes, then we'll publish notice, and it'll become effective in 30 days.
For sure.
I don't know, as far as the, any other part of it, just up to you guys. How do you want to handle
What was the
that?
second part?
So something that we had
Permit,
talked about
permit.
was, trying to right now how it's written, the only permitting on it is like if you wanted to do live music. So, and I know just the political climate in Hernando, when it was written, it was geared more towards like controlling evening noises, like music was kind of what it was geared towards. And so there's provisions in there for the permit on doing like a concert kind of thing, or kind of exemptions you can get from it versus what the standard noise that's allowed is. And so right now, the standard construction noise, like I said, it's the 6 a.m. And so bumping it to conform with the rest of DeSoto County, I think, would be smart. Got a lot of calls about it. I don't know if others did. I think Alderman Kitchens got some as well, like calls where people were doing some construction activities kind of at bonkers. I think it was bonkers hours, really, when
It was 3 a.m., yeah.
Yeah, 3 a.m. where he was at. The ones I got were like more like they're dropping everything at 5:45, and they're going at 6. So I know that that can be disruptive. But I don't know if there's other elements of that we'd want to look at as far as the noise ordinance goes. I like the idea of having permitting as an option because, and Alderman Miller had mentioned this before, I totally get this too with workers being out there in the heat. We're getting into the cooler months. We had our false fall, and now we're hopefully soon to have regular fall. But, working out there in the heat, especially roofing and things like that, it can be tough. So if we had an option for builders, developers to pay whatever amount and then be able to notify folks that, hey, there's going to be this noise, but collect a little revenue for the city perhaps, and then
So with the
help,
permit, is that for if you were going to be prior to 7 a.m.?
Yeah, and it
Okay.
would be that, yeah. So like the instance that Alderman Kitchens had heard about, like they could have potentially like applied for a permit and been like, hey, we're going to knock this all out, get it done, we're starting early. It's going to be annoying, but then done, and then have a permit for it. Because my understanding from the conversation we had is that was one of those where they kind of were telling the authorities like, hey, we're going to be doing this, and you can't say you're good to go against the ordinance, but it was more like, thank you for letting us know. But they could have, if we had more provisions in there.
I called in the last few days. I've talked to at least 7 or 8 different builders, and changed it from 7 to 6. It would affect each and every one of them tremendous. They got to get out there. You got your roofers. They want to get out there as early as they can to beat the heat. I flip houses. I've got a bunch of real estate. I just had one this Friday. I drove by it at 7 o'clock. They already had the roof off for the sole purpose of beating the heat. Whether it's doing the concrete, framing, or roofing, when they're in those phases, I think it would affect them tremendously. And
each and every one of them's totally against it, including me.
And I think you said it very eloquent, that you're really concerned about infills versus Delta Land and Construction. You know, Delta Land and Construction don't affect really no one at 6 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And so to have a open-ended, prohibited start at 7, I think it'll affect too many people. If commercial is another, you lose commercial. Commercial is not around no residential. So we tell commercial, you cannot start constructing this commercial building until 7 o'clock, but it's not affecting no residents. So I think if we look at something like that, we need to make sure that it's not just one thing fit all, because it's not gonna work.
I agree.
I mean, so that's what I'm saying, you know, that nothing wrong with the 6 o'clock time, but if we got, you know, you used the word infield, I think that was pretty
Yeah.
appropriate. And if we just, you know, could tailor it to infield construction, you know, it's at 7 p.m. I think that would take care, that would be watching what the resident, you know, being sensitive to them, but at the same time not stopping something going on.
Right. And just not to like totally repeat myself, but I know when this ordinance was passed before, the focus was so on music that I think a lot of this other stuff we weren't considering, proximities, or I wasn't part of that week, but I don't think proximities and stuff were considered on that. And we've been doing a lot of that, filling in the gaps on things. The area in question that I got the most calls on was at Robinson and 51, where there's a bunch of houses established right there, and then there's kind of construction where you wouldn't expect that.
Have we had any formal complaints?
Awesome.
Or Chief Ellis.
Yeah, well, I've really directed the voice to Chief Ellis. I'm involved in the construction side of it.
Chief, would you come up and answer the Alderman's question?
So the question was, have we had any formal complaints on construction?
Yeah, starting
Yes.
at between 6 and 7.
We have not had any formal complaints.
So nobody called when they were pouring concrete at 3 in the morning. There was nobody that made a call to the police department on that. They just called
Well,
Alderman.
I wasn't aware, but yes,
Okay.
I was told that somebody called, but they refused to, that, you misspoke, not misspoke, it was taken out of context. The developer, he called and asked about violating the ordinance. And he was told that he cannot get permission to violate the ordinance.
Correct.
Nobody can give him permission to do that. If we get complaints on him, we will go ask him to shut it down. And I believe his response was, well, I have to take that chance because there's a lot of factors involved in this asphalt that I'm gonna have to take that chance. It wasn't him thumbing his nose up at us and telling us, this is what I'm gonna do. It was, this is kind of what I have to do. And I'm willing to take the chance of getting a citation or getting in trouble for it because I have to. I talked to the lieutenant that was on patrol that night, let him know this is what we're gonna do. If we get any complaints, we're gonna have to shut him down. And I was told a couple days later by the mayor that a lady did call and voice concerns about it. And when she was asked about the officer coming and talk to her, I believe she said, I don't want him to come to my house to talk. And the officer did not go over there. Hindsight, that's probably not the way to handle that, but in certain situations, like in that situation, the developer didn't say, well, I'm gonna do it regardless. He was reaching out and saying, I have to do this. This is something we have to do.
That sounds like the same thing. I have to do this or I'm doing it regardless. That's the same.
But he was told there, you know, there could be consequences for
And
it.
that's, I did not
he
say that you
said,
gave him permission. I did not say that.
I'll face whatever I got to.
And of course, the ordinance didn't give you any way to permit him to do it.
Correct.
No,
Okay.
I don't have the authority to override any ordinance.
He needs a banjo. If he had a banjo and he was playing music, then he could have gotten a permit while he was
And you
doing
don't have to
it.
have a permit. You don't have to have a permit to play music in Hernando. You just got to abide by the times.
Well, and so that's the whole thing, is we're talking about, this is the stuff that's allowed, and if you want to do something out of what's allowed, that's where permitting would come into play.
The only thing that the ordinance states in the permit about what you could have permission for is at like one of our city parks, if they want to have loudspeakers or the megaphones, that's a permit. But for a business to say, I'm gonna have music at my business, there is no permit. There is no permit for that. They have a right to do that. However, if they do that, then they have to abide by the hours that are established by the board on the noise ordinance.
For sure.
That's the only permit that you need, is if you're gonna do something at a city park, which, with loudspeakers or things like that.
Yes. So,
Am I correct?
Yes.
Any other questions or conversation on it? Oh, yes.
Mr. Larry wants to
I
say
got something
something.
to say about the noise ordinance.
Come on up, Mr. Larry.
Everybody knows, but I can tell you who I am, but I think everybody already knows me. One thing about the noise ordinance, and I've noticed as we grow, there's a real problem. On the 4th of July, we're setting off these big, huge bombs in residential areas, even Wesley Meadows, things like that. And it's really, they're elderly, you can't be doing that as we grow in residential. There needs to be some restriction of time and distance, I think, from that. I'm not talking just fireworks, I'm talking, you know, big that you can feel like that. And I think it needs to be looked at. I'm not asking you to do it, but I really wish y'all would consider that. I think it's something real important. I've had a lot of people tell me, you know, they just doing them, they're laying in bed and they just boom right outside. So, you know, that's part of, you know, courtesy to each and every one of us, don't you think? Thank you.
Thank you.
there's a lot of provisions in there regarding proximity and what the decibel is at the certain feet, and then what the fines are, including jail time, things like that. And kind of like what Alderman Miller was saying, like that just, we weren't thinking, or, you know, it wasn't something with filling in these gaps. That wasn't part of what was in that with proximities. And so with Delta Landing and other things that are on the fringes, perhaps a proximity thing might be another way to look at it, but I've talked too much.
Could I, to move this along, could we request that the ordinance committee go back and revisit this and bring back some additional recommendation based upon the conversation tonight? Because I don't think we'll be able to hash it out tonight, but if the committee, ordinance committee would take it back and just incorporate some of the conversation that has taken place tonight.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
I do think one of the considerations is like the seasonality of what it looks like at 6 a.m. at different
That's what I'm
times of
saying,
the
all
year.
those things.
So just, you know, that's one thing is that, you know, I've definitely worked jobs where I got started at 4:30 in the morning because I knew it was going to be 115 heat index and I wanted to get out as early as I possibly could, and I hopped in my truck and rolled out because I was trying to get things done. And so I sympathize with, you know, folks that have to do that. For sure, but also there's times of the year where 6 o'clock is pitch black outside, and it's, you know, it's just not really conducive to construction work anyway. So there may be like some seasonality considerations or like a sunrise language or something like that as like another option. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, all those things.
Y'all may
we did talk about.
y'all may have talked about that stuff too.
Or possibly, I mean, some construction projects can go very quickly. I mean, if it's just a few days, I mean, does that really matter? I mean, if it's a very large project, if it's gonna be weeks, then that might matter.
Well, and, you know, it's kind of the type of work too. It's like Alderman Robinson said, if you're working on a roof, you can feel it through your shoes by like 11, you know. If it's a black asphalt shingle, I mean, I don't care if you're wearing boots, it'll start. If it's the middle of the summer, if it's 90 degrees outside, it gets real hot real quick on a roof. So
I support what you said, Alderman Miller, though. We should talk more.
You want to make a motion to send
I
it back
make
to
a motion
committee?
to ask the ordinance committee to go back and revisit it based upon the conversation that's been had tonight.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 27 is utility adjustments. Can I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. All opposed, we are now adjourned.